The lights in Kepler Station flickered as something massive hit the outer hull. Dr. Amanda Clark looked up from her computer screen in the research lab. She had been studying samples from the planet below when the whole station shook. "What was that?" asked Dr. Zeftar, her tall alien friend who looked like he was made of blue crystal. His voice sounded like wind chimes when he talked. Amanda walked to the window. Space looked normal. Stars twinkled in the distance. The planet Viridia, Prime spun slowly below them, green and blue like Earth. But something felt wrong. "Attention all station personnel," came a voice over the speakers. It was Captain Jake Morrison from security. "We have an unscheduled docking. All civilians please remain in your current locations." Amanda frowned. Kepler Station was home to scientists from 12 different alien races. They all worked together, studying plants and animals from across the galaxy. Nobody was supposed to visit without permission. The station shook again. This time, Amanda heard metal tearing somewhere, far away. "That didn't sound like a normal docking," she said. Dr. Zeftar's crystal body began to glow brighter, which happened when he was worried. "Perhaps we should listen to Captain Morrison and stay here." But Amanda was thinking about her daughter, Lucy. The 8-year-old girl was visiting for school vacation. She had been helping with the plant gardens in the hydroponics bay. That section was far from the security office. Another voice came over the speakers, but this one was not human. It was deep and rough, like rocks grinding together. "I am Gorthak, the Render," the voice said. "I am a Warbeast of the Vorthon people. I have traveled far to find worthy opponents. I challenge any who dare to face me in combat." Amanda felt her blood turn cold. She had heard stories about the Vorthon. They were warriors who lived for fighting. Their war beasts were the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy. "Did he say Gorthak the Render?" whispered Dr. Zeftar. His crystal body was now glowing so bright it hurt to look at. "You know that name?" "Every species knows that name. He has destroyed champions from 43 different worlds. Some say he cannot be killed." The lights went out. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in red light. Then they heard it. Heavy footsteps in the corridor outside. Each step shook the floor. Amanda grabbed her communication device. "Lucy, can you hear me?" Static answered her. "The communications are down," said Dr. Zeftar. The footsteps stopped right outside their door. Amanda and her alien friend held their breath. Then the steps moved on, getting quieter as they went down the hall. "I need to find my daughter," Amanda said. "Amanda, wait. If what the stories say is true, this Gorthak has never lost a fight. He is 12 feet tall with armor like black metal. He has 4 arms and claws that can cut through steel. I don't care how dangerous he is, Lucy is alone." Before Dr. Zeftar could stop her, Amanda opened the door and looked out. The corridor was empty, but she could see damage. The walls had deep scratches in them. Some doors had been torn off, their hinges. She stepped into the hallway. Behind her, Dr. Zeftar made a sound like breaking glass. That was how his people showed fear. "If you are going, I will come with you," he said. "Two have a better chance than one." They moved carefully down the corridor. The station was too quiet. Usually Kepler buzzed with activity. Scientists talking, machines humming, the sound of work being done. Now there was only silence and the distant sound of something large moving through the station. They reached the main hub, where all the corridors met. Bodies lay on the floor, but they were breathing. Gorthak had not killed anyone, just knocked them out. Captain Morrison was there, holding his arm. When he saw Amanda, he tried to stand. "Dr. Clark, you need to get to a safe place." "Where is my daughter?" "The hydroponics bay is in lockdown. The computer sealed all sections when the creature came aboard." "Is she safe?" Morrison's face was pale. "For now. But this thing is working its way through the station section by section. It wants to fight everyone." "What does it want?" "It says it's looking for the ultimate challenge. It has beaten warriors from dozens of worlds, but it's never fought humans before." Amanda felt sick. Humans were not warriors like the Vorthon. They were explorers, scientists, builders. What chance would they have against a creature bred for war? There has to be a way to stop it, she said. We tried everything. Energy. Weapons bounce off its skin. It's too fast and too strong. And it's smart. It disabled our defense systems like it had studied them for years. Dr. Zeftar spoke up. The Vorthon passed down memories through their genetics. This creature knows everything its ancestors knew about fighting. As if summoned by their conversation, the heavy footsteps returned. Everyone froze as Gorthak the Render stepped into the hub. He was exactly as terrible as the stories said. 12 feet of black scales and muscle, 4 arms ending in claws like swords, eyes that glowed orange like fire. When he moved, he made no sound despite his size. Humans, Gorthak said, his voice filling the room. I have heard of your species but never faced one in battle. Will you accept my challenge? Captain Morrison tried to stand straighter despite his broken arm. I am the security chief of this station. If you want to fight someone, fight me. Gorthak looked at Morrison like a scientist studying an interesting bug. You are injured and weak. There is no honor in defeating you now. His burning eyes moved to Amanda. But you, female, you show no fear. Will you face me? Amanda's heart pounded, but she thought of Lucy. I'm not a warrior, I'm a scientist. I study plants and animals. All creatures can fight when they must. It is the way of nature. Not all creatures, Amanda said. Some survive by being smart, not strong. Some survive by working together. Gorthak tilted his massive head. This seemed to puzzle him. You speak of weakness as if it were strength. I speak of different kinds of strength. For a moment, the Warbeast just stared at her. Then he made a sound that might have been laughter but came out like grinding stone. Words are wind without the power to back them up. I will return when you have decided to face me properly. He looked around the hub at all the fallen people. I give you time to prepare. When I come back, someone will fight me, or I will make the choice myself. He turned and walked away, his heavy steps echoing through the station. Captain Morrison slumped against the wall. He's playing with us, like a cat with mice. How long do we have? Amanda asked. I don't know. But he's heading toward the outer sections. The hydroponics bay is that way. Amanda felt panic rise in her chest. Lucy was in the path of this monster, and unlike the adults, her 8-year-old daughter would not understand the danger. She might try to run, or cry, or do something that would make Gorthak see her as prey instead of just another person to ignore. I have to get to her, Amanda said. The corridors are too dangerous, Morrison warned. Then we go through the service tunnels. Dr. Zeftar's crystal body dimmed. Amanda, even if we reach her, what then? How do we hide from something that can smell fear and hear heartbeats from across a room? Amanda didn't have an answer. But she knew one thing. She would not let her daughter face this monster alone, even if it meant facing Gorthak the Render herself. The station shook again as something heavy hit the walls in the distance. The hunt had begun. Amanda crawled through the narrow service tunnel with Dr. Zeftar behind her. The metal was cold against her hands and knees. Every few feet, she had to stop and listen for the heavy footsteps that meant Gorthak was nearby. Left turn ahead, whispered Dr. Zeftar. His crystal body gave off just enough light to see by, but he kept it dim so they would not be spotted. They had been crawling for 20 minutes. The service tunnels ran behind the walls of Kepler Station like a secret highway. Only the maintenance workers knew all the paths, but Amanda had studied the station maps enough to find her way. Behind them, they could hear Gorthak moving through the main corridors. Sometimes his voice boomed over the communication system as he spoke to the frightened people hiding throughout the station. I am Gorthak the Render. His deep voice echoed through the walls. 100 generations of warriors live in my blood. I carry the strength of all who came before me. Why do you cower like prey animals? Amanda tried to ignore the fear in her stomach. She had to focus on reaching Lucy. They came to a junction where 4 tunnels met. Amanda pulled out her small flashlight and checked the map on her tablet. The hydroponics bay was 2 levels down, and 3 sections over. This way, she whispered, pointing to the tunnel that sloped downward. But as they started to move, they heard voices coming from ahead. People were hiding in the tunnels too. Amanda crawled forward until she reached a grate that looked down into a storage room. 3 people sat against the wall below. She recognized them. Dr. Chen Wu, the human psychologist who studied how different species communicated, Lieutenant Sarah Banks, a young security officer, and Crix Tal, an insect-like alien who worked in engineering. Amanda tapped softly on the grate. The 3 people looked up. "Dr. Clark?" whispered Chen Wu. "What are you doing here?" "Getting to my daughter. She's in the hydroponics bay." "That's where the creature is heading," said Lieutenant Banks. Her uniform was torn, and she had a cut on her forehead. "I tried to stop it with my team. It threw us around like toys." "Tell me what happened," Amanda said, as she and Dr. Zeftar climbed down into the storage room. Banks rubbed her head. "It's not like any animal I've ever seen. It moves like it's dancing even though it's huge. Every attack we made it saw coming, like it had fought humans before, even though it said it hadn't." Dr. Chen Wu nodded. "I've been thinking about that. The Vorthon passed down genetic memories. This creature knows how its ancestors fought, but more than that, it seems to understand the fighting styles of every species it has ever encountered." Crixtal made a clicking sound with his mouth parts. That was how his people showed agreement. "The creature spoke to me in my own language, perfect grammar, perfect accent. It knew things about my people that only we should know." "What kind of things?" asked Amanda. "Our weak points, where to strike to cause the most damage, but also our honor codes, our cultural taboos. It knew exactly what to say to make me angry. Enough to fight." Dr. Chen Wu leaned forward. "That's what I'm worried about. This isn't random violence. Gorthak is trying to provoke fights. He wants opponents to come to him." "But why?" asked Dr. Zeftar. "Because," said Chen Wu slowly, "I think he's looking for something specific. The ultimate challenge," he said. "What if he's not just fighting for fun? What if he's searching for something he's never found?" Amanda felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold metal around them. "What do you mean?" "In all my research on Vorthon psychology, I found something interesting. Their warbeasts can never retreat. They're bred to fight until they win or die. But what happens when a creature like that never finds a worthy opponent? What happens when nothing can challenge it?" Lieutenant Banks understood first. "It gets bored, or maybe desperate." "Exactly. Gorthak has beaten champions from 43 worlds. He's looking for the one fight that will finally test him. And if he doesn't find it, he'll keep fighting forever," whispered Amanda. The group sat in silence for a moment. Above them, Gorthak's footsteps echoed through the ceiling. He was getting closer to the hydroponics bay. "We have to warn the people in the other sections," said Lieutenant Banks. "No," said Chen Wu. "That would just give him more targets. The best thing we can do is stay hidden and hope he gets tired of this game." "But he won't get tired," said Crixtal. "You said it yourself. He can't retreat. That means he can't give up either." Amanda stood up. "Then we find another way. There has to be something we can do." "Like what?" asked Banks. "Our weapons don't work. He's stronger and faster than any of us, and he's smarter than we expected." "Maybe that's the problem," said Amanda. "We're thinking like this is a fight. But I study animals for a living. Sometimes the best way to deal with a dangerous animal isn't to fight it." Chen Wu looked interested. "What do you mean?" "Think about it. Gorthak acts like a predator, but he's not hunting for food. He's hunting for sport. What if we stop giving him what he wants?" "You mean don't fight him?" "I mean don't engage with him at all. Predators lose interest in prey that doesn't run or fight back." Dr. Zeftar's crystal body flickered. "But you said he can't retreat. If he finds someone and they don't fight, what happens then?" Amanda didn't have an answer for that. She just knew she had to get to Lucy before Gorthak did. They climbed back into the service tunnel and continued crawling toward the hydroponics bay. The tunnel got warmer as they got closer. That section of the station had its own climate control to keep the plants healthy. Finally, they reached a grate that looked down into the hydroponics bay. Amanda peered through the metal slats and felt her heart stop. The bay was beautiful, full of green plants from dozens of worlds. Tall corn stalks, bushy tomato plants, flowers in every color imaginable. The air smelled like earth and growing things. And somewhere in that green maze was Lucy. Amanda pressed her face against the grate and whispered as loudly as she dared. "Lucy? Honey, can you hear me?" Nothing. "Lucy?" A small voice came from somewhere among the plants. "Mom?" Relief flooded through Amanda. "Yes, sweetheart, I'm here. Are you okay?" "I'm hiding like you taught me. There's a really big someone walking around the station. He sounds angry." Amanda closed her eyes. Lucy was safe for now, but Gorthak was still coming. "Listen to me carefully," Amanda whispered. "I need you to stay very still and very quiet. Can you do that?" "Yes, Mom." Dr. Chen Wu crawled up beside Amanda. "We need to get her out of there." "The grate is locked," said Dr. Zeftar. "I can try to break it, but the sound might attract attention." That's when they heard it. Heavy footsteps in the corridor outside the hydroponics bay. Gorthak had arrived. The door to the bay exploded inward. Metal flew across the room like confetti. Through the destroyed doorway stepped Gorthak the Render, his orange eyes scanning the room. "I smell fear," he said in his grinding voice, "and something else, something small and young." Amanda's heart hammered against her ribs. Above them, the other adults held their breath. Gorthak stepped into the garden, his massive frame moving between the plants. He was careful not to damage them, Amanda noticed. Even this monster respected living things. "Small one," Gorthak called out. "I know you are here. I can hear your heartbeat. It sounds like a frightened bird." From somewhere in the green maze came Lucy's voice, small but clear. "I'm not scared of you." Amanda nearly gasped out loud. That was not what she had told Lucy to say. Gorthak stopped moving. For the first time since he had boarded the station, he seemed surprised. "You are not afraid of me, little human?" "You're just really big," Lucy said. "My friend Rex is big too, but he's nice." "Are you nice?" In the service tunnel above, Dr. Chen Wu grabbed Amanda's arm. His eyes were wide with a mixture of terror and fascination. "She's not running," he whispered. "She's not challenging him. She's just talking to him." Below them, Gorthak moved deeper into the garden, following the sound of Lucy's voice. And for the first time in his long life as a warbeast, he had no idea what to do next. Gorthak stepped deeper into the green garden, his massive feet careful not to crush the plants. His orange eyes searched between the corn stalks and tomato vines. The small human was close now. He could hear her breathing, slow and steady. Not the quick, panicked gasps of fear he was used to. "Where are you, little one?" he asked, his voice softer than it had been all day. "I'm by the big tomatoes," Lucy said. "They're really red and pretty." "Do you like gardens?" The question confused Gorthak. No one had ever asked him what he liked before. Warriors didn't have preferences about gardens. They had preferences about weapons and fighting styles and victory. He found her sitting cross-legged between two large tomato plants. She was smaller than he had expected, with brown hair pulled back in a ponytail and clothes that were dirty from helping with the garden work. In her arms, she held a stuffed toy that looked like a small earth. Dog Gorthak had seen many creatures in his 100 years of life. He had faced warriors who roared challenges and prey animals that ran in terror. He had met diplomats who tried to bargain, and scholars who tried to reason with him. But he had never seen anything like this little human girl. She looked up at him without fear, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Wow," Lucy said. "You really are big. Bigger than the pictures in my mom's books." She tilted her head. "Are you a dragon? You kind of look like one, but not exactly." Above them in the service tunnel, Amanda pressed her face against the grate so hard it left marks on her cheeks. Dr. Chen Wu was taking notes on his tablet, his hands shaking as he wrote. "She's treating him like any other animal she might meet," Chen Wu whispered. "No aggression, no submission, just genuine interest. Gorthak crouched down, bringing his massive head closer to Lucy's level. His forearms moved slowly, carefully. He had learned to be gentle around fragile things, but only so he wouldn't break them before he could fight them. I am not a dragon, small human. I am Gorthak the Render, Warbeast of the Vorthon people. I'm a warrior bred for combat. Lucy nodded seriously, as if he had just told her he was a teacher or a store clerk. That sounds like a hard job, she said. Do you like being a warrior? The question hit Gorthak like a physical blow. Like? The concept was so foreign to his conditioning that his brain struggled to process it. Vorthon warbeasts didn't like or dislike their purpose. They simply were what they were bred to be. I am what I was made to be, he said slowly. But do you like it? Lucy asked again. She had the persistence that only children possess when they want to understand something. Gorthak's orange eyes dimmed for a moment. In all his years of fighting, no one had ever asked him this. Warriors respected him or feared him. Victims begged him or cursed him, but no one had ever wondered if he was happy. I do not understand the question, he said finally. Lucy stood up, still holding her stuffed dog. She was so small compared to Gorthak that she barely reached his knee, but she showed no awareness of the danger. My friend Rex is a really big dog, she said. When I first met him, he was really grumpy and barked at everyone. But then I found out he was just lonely. He didn't know how to play because no one ever taught him. She looked up at Gorthak with the kind of innocent wisdom that children sometimes have. Maybe you're like Rex. Maybe you fight because it's the only thing you know how to do. Gorthak felt something crack inside his chest. Not physically, but something deeper. The certainty that had guided his entire life suddenly felt less solid. I have never lost a battle, he said, as if reminding himself more than telling her. That must be lonely, Lucy said simply. The words were like a key turning in a lock Gorthak hadn't known existed. Lonely. He thought about the endless years of traveling from world to world, challenging champion after champion, always searching for something he couldn't name. He had called it the ultimate challenge, but maybe... You seem tired, Lucy continued, sitting back down in the dirt. Do you want to sit too? The ground is soft here. Gorthak stared at her. Sit? Warriors didn't sit during encounters. They stood ready for battle, muscles tensed, weapons prepared. But Lucy patted the ground beside her like she was inviting a friend to join her for a picnic. I do not sit with enemies, Gorthak said automatically. Am I your enemy? Lucy asked, tilting her head. I don't want to fight you. I don't even know how to fight. Mom says fighting only happens when people stop using their words. Words are meaningless without strength to support them, Gorthak replied, but his voice lacked its usual conviction. Really? Lucy looked thoughtful. My words made you stop walking around and talk to me. That seems pretty strong. Above them, Dr. Chen Wu was scribbling notes frantically. She's completely disrupting his behavioral patterns, he whispered to Amanda. He doesn't know how to process this interaction. Amanda couldn't take her eyes off her daughter. Lucy was doing something impossible. She was having a conversation with the most dangerous creature in the galaxy, and somehow making it work. What is that? Gorthak asked, pointing at the stuffed animal in Lucy's arms. This is Buster, Lucy said, holding up the toy dog. He's my best friend. Well, one of them. I have lots of friends, but Buster goes everywhere with me. She held the stuffed dog toward Gorthak. Do you want to pet him? He's really soft. Gorthak looked at the toy like it might explode. Slowly, carefully, he extended one massive claw and touched the soft fabric. His claw was longer than the entire toy, but he managed to stroke it gently. Soft, he said, wonder in his voice. Yeah, Mom got him for me when I was little. I used to be scared of the dark, but Buster helped me be brave. You were afraid? Sure, lots of things used to scare me. Big storms, loud noises, being alone. Lucy looked up at Gorthak. But Mom taught me that being scared is okay. Everyone gets scared sometimes. Warriors do not feel fear, Gorthak said, but his voice was quiet. Really, that sounds awful, Being scared isn't fun, but it helps you know when to be careful, and when you're not scared anymore, it feels really good. Gorthak thought about this. He had been bred to eliminate fear, along with doubt, mercy, and hesitation. The Vorthon scientists had considered these emotions to be weaknesses, but listening to Lucy, he wondered if they might have taken away something important. "Do you have friends?" Lucy asked. The question caught him off guard. "Warriors do not have friends, we have allies and enemies." That sounds lonely too. There was that word again. Lonely. Gorthak found himself thinking about the empty years between battles, the silent travel through space, the lack of anyone to talk to who wasn't trying to kill him or run away from him. "Would you like to be friends?" Lucy asked, as simply as if she were asking about the weather. Gorthak's world tilted. Friends? With a tiny human child? The idea was so absurd that his genetic programming couldn't even process it as a possibility. But something deep inside him, something that had been buried under generations of warrior conditioning, stirred to life. "I do not know how to be a friend," he said honestly. Lucy smiled, the bright, uncomplicated smile of a child who sees only possibilities where adults see problems. "That's okay," she said. "I can teach you. Being friends is easy. You just have to be nice to each other and care about each other and share things." She patted the ground beside her again. "The first thing friends do is sit together. It's like telling each other that you're not going to hurt anyone." Gorthak looked down at the small patch of earth Lucy had indicated. Such a simple thing. Just lowering himself to the ground. But for a creature bred to dominate through physical presence, it felt like the most dangerous thing he had ever been asked to do. Above them, everyone in the service tunnel held their breath. This was the moment. That would change everything. Gorthak stared down at the small patch of dirt where Lucy wanted him to sit. His massive frame trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of a decision that went against everything he had ever been taught. For 100 years he had stood tall over his enemies. Standing meant power. Standing meant dominance. Standing meant he was ready to fight at any moment. But this little human girl was asking him to give all of that up. She was asking him to make himself lower, vulnerable, equal. "It's okay if you don't want to," Lucy said gently. Sometimes Rex needed time to learn new things too. Her kindness made the decision even harder. She wasn't commanding him or challenging him. She was simply offering him something he had never had before. A choice made from friendship instead of war. Above them in the service tunnel, Amanda gripped the metal grate so tightly her knuckles turned white. Dr. Chen Wu was barely breathing as he watched the most important moment in galactic history unfold. "If he sits," Chen Wu whispered, "it changes everything we know about the Vorthon." Gorthak looked at Lucy's face. She was watching him with patience and hope, but no judgment. If he said no, she would still be his friend. If he walked away, she would not chase him or call him names. She was giving him something no opponent ever had, the freedom to choose without shame. Slowly, carefully, Gorthak began to lower himself toward the ground. His 4 massive arms helped balance his weight as he folded his legs beneath him. The movement felt strange and awkward. His body was built for fighting, not for sitting peacefully in gardens. When he finally settled onto the soft earth, he was still much taller than Lucy. But now she could look directly into his orange eyes without craning her neck. "There," Lucy said with satisfaction. "Doesn't that feel better? Sometimes when I'm really upset, sitting down helps me think more clearly." Gorthak tested the feeling of sitting. His muscles, always tense and ready for battle, began to relax for the first time in years. The constant alertness that kept him alive in combat started to fade. It was terrifying and wonderful at the same time. "This feels different," he said slowly. "Good different or bad different? I do not know. I have never felt anything like it." Lucy scooted closer to him, still holding Buster. "That's okay. New feelings are confusing. When I first tried ice cream, I didn't know if I liked it because it was so cold and sweet and different from anything else. Do you like ice cream now?" "Oh yes," Lucy said with a big smile. It's one of my favorite things. Sometimes you have to try something a few times before you know if you like it. Gorthak found himself almost smiling back. The expression felt strange on his face. His facial muscles weren't used to making shapes of happiness. You seem less scary when you smile, Lucy observed. More like a friend. I am still dangerous, Gorthak said, though he wasn't sure why he felt the need to warn her. I know. Rex can be dangerous too if someone tries to hurt me or my family, but he chooses to be gentle instead. Lucy looked thoughtful. I think choosing to be gentle when you could be dangerous is the bravest thing anyone can do. The words hit Gorthak like lightning. Brave? He had always thought bravery meant charging into battle, facing overwhelming odds, never backing down from a fight. But Lucy was suggesting that sometimes the braver choice was not to fight at all. I have never thought of gentleness as brave, he admitted. Really? But it's super brave. Like, anyone can break things when they're mad. But being careful with fragile things when you're big and strong, that takes practice and thinking and caring about others. Lucy reached into her pocket and pulled out an apple slice. I was saving this for lunch, but I can share. Friends share food. She held out the small piece of fruit. It was tiny in Gorthak's massive claw, barely visible against his black scales. He had eaten the foods of 43 different worlds, but always as fuel for battle. He had never shared a meal as an act of friendship. He placed the apple slice on his tongue. It was sweet and crisp, but more than that, it tasted like kindness. Thank you, he said quietly. You're welcome. Lucy took a bite of her own apple slice. See? Sharing makes everything taste better. They sat together in comfortable silence. For a moment, around them the plants swayed gently in the artificial breeze of the station's air circulation. The smell of growing things filled the space between them. Lucy, Gorthak said carefully, why are you not afraid of me? Lucy considered this seriously. Well, you haven't hurt me, and you're being gentle with the plants and with Buster, and you said thank you, which means you have good manners. She paused. And you look sad. Sad? Yeah. Like Rex did when he was lonely. Your eyes look sad even when you're trying to look scary. Gorthak felt something wet on his face and touched it with one claw. He had never cried before. Vorthon warbeasts were bred without the ability to shed tears. But somehow, this small human child had found feelings in him that his creators had thought they had removed. I do not understand what is happening to me, he said. That's okay. Understanding takes time, but I think maybe you're remembering how to feel things besides anger. Lucy stood up and walked over to a nearby flower. It was small and yellow, growing in a pot by itself. This is a sunflower, she said. Mom taught me about them. They always turn their faces toward the light, even when everything around them is dark. She looked back at Gorthak. Maybe you're like a sunflower. Maybe you've been looking for something bright and warm, but you just didn't know what it was. Gorthak watched her gentle hands touch the flower petals. Everything about her was careful and kind. She moved through the world like someone who understood that most things were fragile and deserved protection. What is friendship like? He asked. Lucy's face lit up. Oh, it's the best thing ever. Friends talk to each other and play together and help each other when things are hard, and they forgive each other when they make mistakes. What if someone has made very big mistakes? Then they say sorry and try to do better. Real friends don't give up on each other. Gorthak thought about all the champions he had defeated. All the worlds where he had spread fear. Could someone like him ever really change? Could someone who had lived for war learn to live for peace? I have done terrible things, he said quietly. But you're not doing terrible things now, Lucy pointed out. You're sitting in a garden with me, being gentle and sharing food. That's what matters. She walked back over and sat down beside him. Again. This time she was close enough that her small shoulder almost touched his arm. Would you like to meet my mom? She asked. She's really smart and she knows lots about taking care of animals. I bet she could help you figure out how to be happy. Gorthak looked up at the ceiling where he somehow sensed people were watching. He had known they were there all along, but he had been focused on Lucy. Now he realized that her mother was probably one of them, terrified that her child was sitting next to the most dangerous creature in the galaxy. "She must be very frightened," he said. "Maybe a little. But moms worry about their kids even when they're just crossing the street. She'll feel better when she sees that you're nice." Lucy stood up and looked toward the ceiling. "Mom, I know you're up there. You can come down. Now I want you to meet my new friend." Above them in the service tunnel, Amanda felt her world shift. Her 8-year-old daughter had just done the impossible. She had tamed a warbeast with nothing but kindness and the offer of friendship. And now she was asking her mother to trust in that miracle. Amanda stared down through the grate at her daughter sitting next to the most feared creature in the galaxy. Her hands shook as she tried to process what she was seeing. Gorthak the Render, destroyer of champions, was sitting peacefully in the dirt like a giant scaly dog. "Mom, come down," Lucy called again. "Gorthak wants to meet you." Dr. Chen Wu grabbed Amanda's arm. "This is unprecedented. We're witnessing the first peaceful contact between a Vorthon warbeast and another species." "That's my daughter down there," Amanda whispered. "If something goes wrong—" "Nothing will go wrong," said Dr. Zeftar, his crystal body glowing softly. "Look at his posture. He has completely relaxed. I have studied predator behavior for decades, and this creature is no longer in hunting mode." Amanda looked again. Gorthak was indeed sitting calmly, his 4 massive arms resting on the ground. His orange eyes, which had burned with violence just an hour ago, now seemed almost gentle. "Please, Mom." Lucy's voice drifted up. "He's really nice once you get to know him." Amanda took a deep breath. Her daughter had done something impossible, and now she was asking her mother to trust in that miracle. Slowly, Amanda began to work at the lock on the grate. It took her several minutes to get it open. When she finally dropped down into the hydroponics bay, her legs nearly gave out from fear and adrenaline. She was face to face with a legend of terror, and all that stood between them was her 8-year-old daughter's belief in friendship. Gorthak watched her carefully as she approached. Amanda could see intelligence in his eyes, but also something she hadn't expected: uncertainty. He seemed almost nervous. "Hello," Amanda said quietly, stopping several feet away from where Lucy sat. "Hello, Dr. Clark," Gorthak replied, his deep voice much softer than it had been during his rampage through the station. "Your daughter has taught me much today." Lucy bounced up and ran to her mother, grabbing her hand. "See? I told you he was nice. He shared my apple and he pet Buster, and he knows how to say thank you." Amanda looked at her daughter, then at the massive warbeast who was still sitting peacefully in the dirt. "Lucy, do you understand how dangerous this situation was?" "Not anymore," Lucy said confidently. "Gorthak isn't dangerous to friends. He told me so." Gorthak shifted slightly and Amanda tensed, but he was only adjusting his position to look at her better. "Your child speaks truth," Gorthak said. "I came to this station seeking the ultimate challenge in combat. Instead, I found something I did not know existed: acceptance without conditions, kindness without fear." Above them, more people were climbing down from the service tunnel. Dr. Chen Wu, Lieutenant Banks, Crixtal, and Dr. Zeftar all gathered in the garden, staring in amazement at the scene before them. "How is this possible?" asked Lieutenant Banks, her hand still instinctively reaching for her weapon. Dr. Chen Wu was furiously taking notes. The child approached him without any of the behavioral patterns that trigger his combat responses. No challenge, no submission, no fear-based reactions. She treated him as an individual rather than a threat. "More than that," said Gorthak, overhearing the conversation. "She offered me something no one has ever offered before: the choice to be something other than what I was made to be." Captain Morrison's voice crackled over the communication system. "All sections report. What is the status of the hostile?" Amanda picked up her communicator. "The situation has been resolved, Captain. The visitor is no longer hostile." "Come, again, Dr. Clark. Did you say resolved?" "Yes, he's sitting in the garden with my daughter, sharing snacks." There was a long pause over the comm. "I'm going to need you to repeat that." Lucy giggled. "Can you tell him about the sunflower?" she asked Gorthak. Gorthak looked at the small yellow flower Lucy had shown him earlier. Your daughter compared me to a sunflower. She said perhaps I had been searching for light without knowing what I was looking for. And did you find it? Asked Amanda carefully. I believe I did, in the kindness of a child who saw past what I was bred to be and offered to show me what I could become. Dr. Chen Wu stepped forward. Gorthak, what will you do now? Your people expect you to return with tales of conquest. Gorthak was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke slowly, as if working out a difficult problem. I will return to my people, but not with tales of conquest. I will tell them about a human child who taught me that there are different kinds of strength, that choosing peace when you have the power for war is the bravest thing a warrior can do. Will they understand? Asked Dr. Zeftar. Some will not. They will call me weak, broken, a failure of breeding. Gorthak's orange eyes grew sad. But perhaps some of the younger ones, the ones who have not yet been hardened by generations of war, will listen. Lucy walked over and patted Gorthak's massive arm. If they're mean to you, you can come back here. Friends always have a place for each other. Thank you, little sunflower, Gorthak said gently. I will remember that. Captain Morrison appeared in the doorway, limping slightly from his earlier encounter. His jaw dropped when he saw Gorthak sitting peacefully among the plants. What in the galaxy? He started to say. Captain, said Amanda, I'd like you to meet Lucy's new friend. He was just telling us about his plans to promote peace among his people. Morrison looked like he was having trouble processing this information. The Terror of 43 Worlds wants to promote peace. The former Terror of 43 Worlds, Gorthak corrected gently. Today, I learned that there are more important things than being feared. Over the next hour, word spread throughout the station and beyond. Scientists, diplomats, and military leaders from across the galaxy watched in amazement as video feeds showed Gorthak the Render sitting in a garden, carefully petting a stuffed animal, while an 8-year-old human girl explained the proper way to water plants. News of the encounter traveled faster than light through the galaxy's communication networks. On a dozen worlds, military strategists tried to understand how humanity had accomplished what no weapon could achieve. On the Vorthon homeworld, the High Command watched the footage in stunned silence. But perhaps the most important moment came when Lucy had to say goodbye. Gorthak was preparing to return to his ship to begin the long journey home to his people. Will I see you again? Lucy asked, hugging Buster tightly. I hope so, said Gorthak. I have much to learn about being a friend, and you are an excellent teacher. Remember to sit sometimes, Lucy said seriously, and share your food. And if you meet other people who seem scary, try talking to them first. Maybe they're lonely too. Gorthak carefully extended one massive claw and gently touched Lucy's head. I will remember everything you taught me, little sunflower. Most importantly, I will remember that the strongest word in any language is not a battle cry or a challenge. What is it? Asked Lucy. Gorthak smiled, an expression that transformed his entire face from terrifying to kind. The strongest word, he said, is the one you said to me when I most needed to hear it. The word that changed everything. Sit, sit, he agreed. One word that meant, you are safe here, you are welcome here, you belong here. As Gorthak walked toward his ship, he carried with him more than just memories. He carried hope. Hope that his people could learn what he had learned. Hope that war was not the only way. Hope that somewhere in the galaxy, a little girl with a stuffed dog would remember him as her friend, not as a monster. And throughout the galaxy, the story spread of the day when the most feared warrior in existence learned the power of a single word spoken with love. The day when a human child taught the universe that sometimes the greatest victories come not from fighting, but from choosing to sit down together and share an apple with a friend.